Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Cluster Puck Podcast, part of the MHRT network here at Center Ice. I am Nick. Beside me here, as always, is Brit. How are you doing, Brit?
I'm good. Got my tired hockey mom outfit on today, so
I might need to put that on myself, man. It's a
oh,
lot of reasons to be tired this week, but we're happy that
Nick soon's hosting your Utah Phoenix Coyotes podcast.
the Utah
Host,
whatevers.
former
Yeah,
Avalanche fan.
no, but yeah, definitely a lot of keeping up on that front for sure.
Yeah, I
But
think they're playing their last game at Mullet as we record.
they are. Yep. I watched that first period, and then if time allows, we might try to watch the end of it. But yeah, definitely a lot going on in the realm of Utah and the NHL. So we'll just have to keep our eyes and ears out and listening. But interesting times. That's about all I can say right now. Is interesting times. However, that does not or should not affect how the Avalanche have been playing.
I don't know.
Right?
We could find a way to let it make us suck. Take some offense to it.
New rivalry to create? What? No, I'm kidding.
Well, the way that them moving will affect us is we might be moving divisions. So next year might be weird.
That would be strange.
I don't know
I see no reason why you.
divisions, but people
I
are
see
just
no reason why you'd need to change divisions.
yeah. I don't know. It better
Doesn't
not
make any
because
sense.
I don't want to play an hour. I don't want it to change.
Yep, and I totally agree. I 100% agree. So, okay, before we get into today's episode, don't forget everyone to like and subscribe. Follow the MHRT network so you can get notified when shows like the Cluster Puck Podcast go live. You can follow the MHRT network on the various social media platforms of your choosing. If you want to follow us specifically, you can follow us at Cluster Puck Avs on Twitter, Instagram, and Threads, and then the Cluster Puck Podcast on Facebook. Okay, Britt. So, it's been a little, probably about a week and a half-ish since we last did our in-person episode in Denver. Had a blast with you, getting to know you more. I thought the whole thing was just super fun, paid off very well. I mean, the eclipse was happening. It was a grand old time. I thought, right? But no, it was a great. I think it was a great little get together. Would for sure love to do it again.
It was super
fun. But we are back in the comfort of our own homes. Obviously, we have the tired hockey mom get up and the reverse retro, so we're both kind of wearing our comfy clothes. So, and for good reason. You know, we kind of, the Avalanche world kind of needs a little bit of comforting right now because this last.
Can we just reverse back to retro Avalanche?
Maybe. But the last few games, most of which didn't bode well for us and for different reasons. So last we left off, we went to the Dallas Stars game. So let's pick up from that one and kind of our feedback, which we were just so tired at the end of that. We were just like, we were going to release a video and then just kind of forgot because we were tired. And either way, it was probably best to not to let the emotions cool off.
It was a buzzkill, to say the least.
It was a huge buzzkill.
It was fun till it wasn't.
It was. Yep, you're totally right. We were in it till we weren't. They lose the game 7-4, and this one at the time was for a share or just a point behind first place in the division, which we'll get to kind of our final standing later. But that type of game, Britt, kind of just meant Dallas was on its way up and Colorado was on its way down.
Yeah. And it's like the first time we were the team to score quickly. And it was like, oh, heck yeah, here we go.
Oh, yeah.
And then we didn't go.
Yep. So Sean Walker gets the party started with some kind of like odd floater. It was right from our vantage point, right in our zone. We just looked at it like that wasn't a shot, but it went in.
Yeah. And it was like, finally, we're getting a little puck luck. It's about time we deserve somebody else's goalie to suck, which happens again later this week. But staying on this game, it's about time another goalie let in a Georgiev-esque goal.
Yep, I 100% agree. And then two rather quick ones from the Stars later and about toward the dying minutes of the period. And that was kind of my thing that I had turned to you and I said, this is just typical Avalanche. We let in that one goal right before the period ends.
Well, and we started that game and we had talked about we need to just play insane defense, just get him through, get him feeling good. We gave up like 3 high danger chances in the first 2 minutes of the game, and it was Makar and Tays on the ice. It was sickening, honestly, like so discomforting as an Avs fan and as somebody who like claims them to be the 2 best defensemen on this earth.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. We do get the goal back from Arturi Lehkonen off of the power play, which it actually produced something. That was surprising.
Wow, you are allowed to score on a power play. It's so weird.
Yep. However, the following 3 goals went to Dallas, all 3 of which were on the power play. And that's kind of the one thing I wanted to touch on in that game was the goaltending was solid. And we watched it in person. And they were chanting Georgiev's name.
Yeah.
Right? We were all chanting his name. But the problem was, it was the costly, stupid, and unnecessary penalties.
Which has been a theme. It has been a theme. And before, our penalty kill was something that we pride ourselves on. And as of late, our penalty kill sucks. And we've been taking an insane amount of penalties. And the people that have been taking the most penalties are our best penalty killers. So we're just literally shooting ourselves in the foot, like with holding as many guns in your hand as you can at this point.
Pretty much scatter shot rounds at this point.
Waiting for the anvil to drop on it. Like when your penalty killers take the penalties and then what's left of your penalty kill has been atrocious, maybe everybody should take less penalties. Which we've never struggled with discipline like that before. So it's maddening.
It really is. And here's the thing, though. Yes, Georgiev let in the 3, but they're all on the power play. It's a man advantage for a reason, right?
That's why more
times than not, that's why it's called an advantage, because it puts the other team, the Avalanche in this case, at a disadvantage. So again, your penalty kill should have been better to begin with.
And
so you didn't have to put Georgiev in these types of situations.
2 of those on the 4-minute that was a high stick from Sean Walker, right?
The 4-minute that didn't draw blood, you mean?
Yes.
Still not over that.
Once again, we discuss the plague of the Avalanche that no one else seems to have really encountered this season. It's bewildering. I think that's like the 5th time that it's happened to us this season. A 4-minute high sticking power play or penalty kill with no blood. And no visible injury.
Yep. It was I just put us in a bad spot and then just dug us into a hole. There was hope because an amazing effort from Brandon Duhaime.
Yeah.
Freaking amazing goal.
Insane.
And then Jonathan Drouin puts the game to within 1.
Yeah.
So you had it again. You kind of settled things down.
End of the second, we were still in it. I mean, the game was in reach.
Yeah, it was 5-3 at the end of the second because that Duhaime goal came with about 45 seconds left. And then about halfway through the third, Drouin scores.
Yeah.
And that momentum begins to carry.
That this game is over. We can score 2 goals in 2 minutes. This team they know what they're doing. We've up until the last 5 minutes before many times.
Exactly. Yep. And I think that's kind of the mentality that I think we had during the game was as soon as Drouin scored, it's like, we just need the 1. And we're right back into this.
Generally, Georgiev grows stronger throughout the game. His bigger saves come as the game progresses. I would be really curious to see the number of goals he's given up in first versus third periods, even in our losses, because I would bet that the difference is very, very big. Most of the goals come in the first 2 periods. Yeah.
And so this game was close. It could have gone either way. A couple of shots rang off the iron, I remembered. But an unfortunate timed goal by Wyatt Johnston puts the Dallas Stars up 6-4. They get the empty netter to make it 7-4, and you walk away with the loss. So you were in the game, which, if there is one good thing to pull from this, is that they did not ever give up.
Right.
That
And
was the important part.
I think that one of the brightest spots is Jonathan Drouin had just no quit. You would have thought he didn't even know the score of this game. Back to being negative, stupid Ben and stupid Duchesne, of course. Both, I think Ben had 2 goals. If he would have gotten a hat trick, I would have never worn a hat again in my life watching hats, because there was a lot of Dallas jerseys and it would have happened. But yeah, yep. Jonathan Drouin, God, he played so hard all the way till the end. It's nice to see that someone who has been criticized for failing to show up in the big moments in playoff times
came up.
Seems to be very aware of that, and he seems to be working to erase that history.
Yep, I totally agree. So disappointing loss. Of course, Matt Duchene has to score against the Avalanche. That's just, we kind of expect it.
Yeah.
But again, hard fought up until that untimely goal with about 5 minutes left, and then it kind of just slipped away from you. So not fun, obviously, but you try to move on from it, which you do. You play the Minnesota Wild and you win that game 5-2 in a rather dominant fashion, right?
Kicked
now, granted,
their ass.
Yeah. Now, granted, this was the game that effectively eliminated Minnesota, I want to say. If not, they just were eliminated right before. So either way, they were desperate, and clearly it showed.
I think mathematically, but it's always personal. Even if they were eliminated, it's almost always personal, and you can play a whole lot different when there's no accountability. Like the accountability is not the same when you're eliminated.
Yep, totally agree. The bright spot in this one was the hat trick from Nathan MacKinnon. Just beautiful. The whole thing was just beautiful. This was the game to me that I was just like, this is his third, fourth hat trick, fifth maybe even of the season.
Yeah.
And it's like, this to me was kind of what solidified him as the Hart Trophy finalist and winner. Right?
I hope so, because if this last week tarnishes his Hart run, which it very well may, because people are seriously doubting on the Avs, it's really going to piss me off. He hit his 50 goal mark for the first time also in this game.
Yep. Goals 49, 50, and 51 all came in this game. He's very, very close to breaking
2 points, I think,
Peter Stastny's record, right? Is it 1 to tie, 2 to break?
That might be right, because I think 151 is where he was at, and 153, and I think that was 2 games ago. And
let's see, he's at 138.
Got shut out, and then he got an assist in the Vegas game.
Yeah, I think it's 1 to tie, 2 to beat, I think is how it is.
Which, if we're gonna win the game tomorrow night, he probably better do that.
Better, because the kind of from the beginning of the season, people guessed it was going to be him. Connor McDavid broke the 100 assists ceiling,
as did tonight also,
as did Nikita Kucherov at the time of this recording, just a few hours ago. But at the same time, it's like, that's great. You got 100 assists, something that's not happened before. But at the same time,
no, it's very rare.
I mean, at the same time, it's all three have put together outrageously good seasons. Like that's kind of the underlying thing. But McDavid has won about 1,000 times. Kucherov has got it already. Just give it to the new guy. Right? Like, come on.
McKinnon's is the most well-rounded. If you're looking for something to be the tiebreaker, McKinnon's has been the most well-rounded season. Because
without, and I get the argument on McDavid and Kucherov's side, but without
also
McKinnon,
I hate Kucherov, so they should really.
There you go.
He's a giant.
That's all you need. That's all you need.
Did you see that hit he threw the other day
against Tom Wilson? Or
if that would have been anybody but Tom Wilson. Tom Wilson and Kucherov. I mean, the response would have been so drastically different if he had done it to someone else, or if someone else had done it to someone else. I cannot stand Kucherov. McDavid deserves his flowers, but Kucherov can suck it.
There you go.
Yeah.
But to me, like I said, it's what solidified McKinnon as being the most valuable. Now, granted, play creators make playmakers, right? I understand that. But McKinnon, you're just like what you said. This was his well-rounding moment, right? He's still at 87 assists, right? Which is
persevering through the team, seriously struggling.
Yeah, and that's the thing is a lot of the times, like I think we were with McKinnon the entire time, and it goes to show that every game was important with him,
Yeah.
right? I
Yeah.
mean,
And it
he's
feels like
breaking records.
there's a lot of the time he's single-handedly lighting the fire to get our team back on track when we have struggled.
Yeah. And if it wasn't for a really terrible call with the New York game, he'd still have his point streak, right? I will still debate that until I die,
It's hard
right?
to wonder what if that would have done us good or bad to continue that streak with that need looming over him in every home
Yeah.
game. You'd play a little bit different, but
Yeah, because he would have still wanted it would have definitely changed the outcome of the next game, which either way would have for sure ended his streak
yeah.
definitively. And
Yeah.
that was the
There's no question.
7-0 pounding that the Avalanche took from the Winnipeg Jets, who, by the way, you're going to be facing off against. And it's
Yeah, we haven't been
ay, ay, ay.
obviously haven't been shut out at home up until the Rangers game. But we been shut out at all? Very seldomly have we
We
been off the
we were
board.
shut out a small handful of times, and they were really pretty bad. But this one just
When
felt,
we do like get our asses kicked, we really like to
yeah.
asses kicked.
I mean, just in this one, 4 goals allowed in the first,
It
3
felt
in
like
the second.
I think after the first, I just remember thinking like, has there ever been a game that a team has scored like 25 goals? Because it feels like it's imminent, especially when taking Georgie out didn't stop the bleeding. It did.
It didn't do a thing. It didn't do a thing. And this is one now where I will get off my high horse of defending Georgiev and say he did not play good.
No,
Annunen did not play good.
no, it
The
was
whole
such a
team.
comprehensive, literally no one except, it felt like Ross Colton was trying, but I think it was the single most embarrassing game that we've played in several years.
I would
And the Memphis
100%
game,
agree.
the St. Louis game, and then the Preds come back. Those
Yeah.
have been within this year have been some of the most embarrassing games of many, many years that I can recall.
Yep. And that I'm hoping it's rock bottom and you're now back on an upswing because that like I said, Georgiev played bad. I have not, and I will be the first to admit that Annunen played bad. The rest of the team played bad, right? So
The talent on our team, we should be able to accidentally do better than that.
no kidding.
And we
I
just
mean,
again
even
continue to
one
shot
goal, but
ourselves.
7-0. I mean,
Mhm.
that's game 2 of this 2022 Stanley Cup Finals, right? Like I remember when we won 7-0 over Tampa in the final, and I was like, boy, howdy, I bet Tampa is just,
Yeah.
just
And it's
seething.
horrifying that that's a playoff preview. The only positive I can take out of it is, and maybe we'll find out tomorrow, but not really. It's not the same because tomorrow's game has no implications. But hopefully, it's something that lights a fire under their asses and reminds them that they don't get to just win off like what they're said to be or who they believe they are or who they prove they are during the first Stanley Cup run. Like it's a clean slate come the playoffs. So hopefully it lights the right kind of fire. I would urge people to not overreact tomorrow because tomorrow's game is irrelevant in the big scheme.
Hmm.
But not a fun playoff preview as we had already anticipated
No,
that would most likely be our matchup. We were playing for home ice. That's how we
it
played,
was for home
playing for
ice.
home ice where we are
Yep,
notoriously awesome. So
yep. And Winnipeg clearly knew that, and they had something in their pocket that night. The luck
yeah.
was all over the Jets. Um, however,
I'm not sure if you're frozen or if I'm frozen. All right, I think I'm unfrozen. I'm pretty sure that's Nick's computer, or if it's just StreamYard in general. But I'm going to talk like I know that I'm not frozen. So I'll just finish up with the Winnipeg game because honestly, don't really want to talk about it that much. It's something that I'm hoping that within a couple weeks when we're kicking butt in the playoffs, we're not even going to think twice about. So to wrap up the Winnipeg game, I can't even remember where we were now, but we lost 7-0. Another big negative taken from that game was Gerard. Ross Colton laid the hit of a lifetime, and it happened to be on Sam Girard. I'm not sure if I haven't heard any justification or any reasoning as to why he hit Girard the way that he did. If you go watch the video, it's so gnarly. Girard left immediately down the tunnel. He was under concussion protocol. I did hear the next morning that he was skating on his own. I'm hoping that he will be back for the Edmonton game, but I'm not positive. This game was just another game of penalties. McKinnon getting penalties. Sean Walker got a slashing penalty. I don't know. I go back and forth as to when is a good time to fight. I've been curious if we would see a Josh Manson fight come up here at some point, but it seems like if there was, it was going to be during the Dallas game. Him and I can't think of his name. So again, they were going back and forth, and we didn't see a fight. But honestly, I don't think that there was really a notable point where there was any glimpse of the Avs even possibly trying to come back into this game, even if they didn't plan on winning, but just to not be embarrassed. Every little bit of it just seemed really awful. I think it was like the second period. They were outshot like 3-1. So bad. That was either the second or third, but we were outshot just relentlessly. I, of course, Toffoli, he's always, Nick's texting me. It looks like he's having some internet problems, so I'm not sure if he's going to come back. We'll see. If anything, we will just finish it out. There's really not a whole lot to go over. We've got one game up until we're going to do another show once the playoff comes, but we'll see if Nick comes back. If not, that's okay. So let's finish the Winnipeg game. Well, the one thing that I don't love about the Winnipeg game is it seemed like they really did get scoring from all over. Like I said, Tyler Toffoli, every time he's been available or seemingly on the trading block, I have always thought that he would be a great Av. And it's so funny because when he did go to there's Nick.
My internet decided to just drop.
I know. I was just telling him, you text me, we'll see if you come back. But I was just kind of finishing up the Winnipeg game. I don't really want to talk about it that much. Georgiev played 15 minutes. Some of my biggest problems were that they got the scoring from kind of all over. Wasn't one specific place. That's a 3-0 sweep for the Winnipeg Jets, which is pretty incredible considering it still, again, has not even registered in my head that they're a good team. Even as they're kicking our asses, I still am just like, I wanted to look it up, though. Do you remember last year, didn't they get swept in the first round after a relatively impressive regular season?
I think they lost in 5 to Vegas is what happened.
Okay. So, I mean, fair. It's the eventual Stanley Cup champions. But still, there are teams that are made for playoff runs, and there's teams that are made for regular seasons, Edmonton being one and Colorado being the other. I'll let you decide where those teams fall. But yeah, it kind of sucks because the whole goalie thing got thrown up too. Onanen was supposed to play against Vegas. Georgiev was gonna play against Winnipeg because the Winnipeg game was the more pressing game because it did determine the home or away. So then we can just move into the Vegas game. So Georgia gets pulled after 15 minutes. And you're like, okay, this team, they're gonna answer back. Like Vegas should be scared, right? Like they're gonna come back like the Wild. They're gonna
angry and upset. Yep.
Yeah, Hurdle just came back. Shouldn't be that good. Aiden Hill was in net. He's struggled since he came back. Also, we should be able to kick Vegas's butt and get the mojo going before. And what did we do? We came out and we did just that. We came out and we saw Aiden Hill give up a shot worse than most of the ones that Georgiev has given up all year. Flubbed over his shoulder, didn't close his post. And we're like, here we go. Puck luck's ours. But I just need to never, ever, ever, ever again think that finally the
Have
then
puck luck.
it's like puck luck just turns and runs the other direction. It's so bad.
Yep.
The Vegas game, which granted we were on a back-to-back, was it 4-3 or 3-4, 3 games in 4 days? We had played Winnipeg, the day before yesterday?
Yeah, so I
and
think it would have been 3-4 would have been it.
But
Yep.
Hello playoffs. Granted, it's not an equal slate. Like the playoffs will always be you've played the same amount of games in the same amount of days. We came out ready, kicking ass. We were moving. We were flying. We were putting up shots. Where did it go downhill? Was it the end of the second?
No, third period.
Yeah.
We had the 3-0 lead in the third period.
Blame it on the legs falling out. Our scoring core, our like nucleus, they're young and supposedly some of the most in shape athletes in the entire world, eating their chickpeas and not ever touching sugar. We very clearly absolutely ran out of gas in the third period. I've never seen the Avs lose their legs like that. They've always been this anomaly that seems to gain their legs in the third period, even on a back-to-back.
Yeah. And I think what it was for me, so obviously it helps when William Karlsson gets 2 goals, one of which was a power play goal. The Avs, again, could not score for the life of them on a power play. Now, granted, you only got the one, but it would have made a difference.
Yeah.
Right. And they were just absolutely terrible on that power play. So again, not much to be able to resonate as far as, blaming it all on that one power play that you had. But at the same time, penalty kill could have killed off one other on the other direction. Right. So there's 2-point game or a 2-goal swing there. But I think you're exactly right. They just ran out of gas. Right. Everyone, it just hit a wall.
Mental too and physical. It just, I don't know. It's just like it just felt dead. I don't know.
No, I think you're exactly right. And then the thing I knew about the fact that Vegas would have completed a comeback, I knew it was going to happen, was, what was it? Half a minute left or whatever, 2 seconds left.
10 seconds
and
left.
Josh Manson commits a penalty.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, okay, kill it off with the 10 seconds, which they were able to do. So you do squeak away with a point, but on an overtime period, when it's 4-on-3, that is so much
overtime is basically just it's a death sentence. It's
and with that goal, like Georgiev was positioned correctly. Right. He did everything correctly, but even the best of goaltenders cannot anticipate a complete redirect right in front of you. Right.
3 times. Wasn't it not 3 times the exact same goal in this game?
Something around that where there were redirects or something like that. The one I think from Barbashev was the one where it's like, okay, you could have sealed up a little better. So I'll ding Georgiev for that one, but the rest of them, it's like he was positioned exactly how he needed to be, And
Thomas Hertl, Tomas has arrived for the Vegas Golden Knights because he felt like a force to be reckoned with in that game. I swear to God, he was everywhere.
Yep. So you kind of knew it was going to happen. 4-on-3. I was hoping maybe they could go and kill it off. They almost did. But again, that's just how the puck goes. And that's how they're professional hockey players. They know where the puck's going to be. They know where they're going to lower their stick to, how to redirect it. It's not dumb luck all the time.
Like with a 3-goal cushion, you should be able to coast and not lose. You know what I mean? Maybe give up your insurance goals, but for goodness sake, you got to coast a little faster than that.
Yeah. I mean, coast with some kind of oomph, what I mean?
Power coast.
There you go. Power coast. That's the way to put
it.
That
the last goal in regulation, Makar going behind the net to chase him and him scoring on a wraparound. Those are both 2 might level training. Makar chasing him around the net and the post not being closed. Like, holy Hannah, those are things that we literally teach in mites. So, it was just a lot of mindless, which is just such a shame when all you had to do was close it out, protect the lead.
Yep. And all Makar needed to do was, instead of chase, go in front of the net and block any potential.
Where he would do both things at the same time.
Or do both. Yeah, there you go. That was the solution. But you do, like I said, you walk away with a point, but again, another one that will just sting. And right now, the Avalanche are
transformation from going to the penalty kill, being like, "Are we going to get a goal? Are we going to get a goal?" to now, like, "Oh my God, please no penalty kill!" Like
no,
we used
seriously.
to think that we could still score just as many goals on the penalty kill with Logan.
And I wonder, Britt, if that kind of translates to how important Logan O'Connor is.
I don't think that the true value of Logan O'Connor can be put into any tangible words, statistics, beautifully written poem. He is just somebody that you can't possibly even pinpoint all of the things that he does until you see those lapses in very niche situations. I don't even want to say out loud like some of the people I would give up to have O'Connor, but they're people that you would see as far more important than Logan O'Connor. If we're
one of them has 138 points, right, Britt? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, and I don't know. I'm really curious to see about the lines. Sounds like Kovalenko might be joining us. I'll just kind of transition out of the game, but this is a theme through all the games. I'm really not liking that second line. I really don't feel like Middlestedt and Nichushkin. I don't know. It's just not vibing well. I'm really wondering about splitting Rantanen and Mac, which
you might.
I don't know.
Because they clearly don't need the help.
Tomorrow goes poorly. What can it hurt? Like at this point, what can it hurt? Even if you have to do a playoff game to figure it the hell out. Middlestedt has really been going through like a sophomore month slump of some sort because and Val really not super helpful since he's
just
been
on a down note.
Yep. Yeah. Something. It'd be nice. I don't know. Something to get something going. And it seems like splitting Mac and Mikko kind of is usually the little ingredient that they need until they put them back together and explode again. Like make them miss each other.
There you go. And so speaking of, we do have the one final game of the season, which we did touch on in last episode, but now that it's kind of here, I do want to get to it in depth because it will be the final home game of the season, regular season game period before the playoffs start. But this one to me, again, you are going to be playing with house money effectively. You can experiment. There's nothing to lose, right? It's already guaranteed that you're going to play Winnipeg round one as the third seed in the Central.
But the Avs are a lot more desperate for good vibes than the Oilers are.
It's a momentum. Yep, you're exactly right. It's going to be about momentum and how to bring back a win, right? Get a win back in, just what am I trying to say? I'm so flustered here. Get back in the win column.
Yeah, there's been a lot of comparisons to the Stanley Cup winning team. But the difference is when we started resting people and we went on that like 3-7-0, we had already solidified the first place. We sealed our place in the conference at first. So it's not the same. We've lost games that have lost us positioning and ice determination. So we lost those games without it really genuinely didn't matter, but they have got to get the momentum and the emotional momentum going at this point. I have so much faith in this team and they need to truly, I just think the most important thing tomorrow is to protect the living daylights out of Georgiev and get him just feeling good. I mean, if we need to win 1-0 because everybody else is standing in a line in front of Georgie, I just think it's necessary. I think that's all it's going to take is to get him going. And I think you can maintain that because it's every other day. So you can maintain that and keep it, but they've gotta play good in front of him.
You're exactly right.
Horrific how they've played in front of him.
Yep. And that's the thing too, is everyone is calling for Georgiev's head, right? That is not a good mentality to have when you're going into the playoffs and you are rooting against at this point your own players.
Yeah, it's not helpful.
You need to stand behind them even at their worst, right?
Yeah.
And now is the time to change your mind, change your mentality on how you view the situation, whether you think Georgiev is playing good, whether you think it's all his fault. Well, I don't care.
Guarantee you Onanen is not the Jordan Binnington to come in.
He's respectable. He's definitely got himself the backup role, right? But Georgiev is the guy, right? Like I
also
can't.
now I'm a little bit torched that Marc-Andre Fleury wouldn't come to us because he signed for another year, so he wasn't going to retire. What a jerk!
Which
Yes,
it'll be his last year. But guess what? The team is what you have, and you are a fan of the team. And I say you in a general sense, right? But you're a fan of the team, right? You need, it's not going to be fun. And like I said, there might be moments that piss you off.
yeah.
But you need to stand behind your team. Put the trust in the players. There's a reason they're the professionals and we're not.
They
Right?
know the murmurs, like they know the general sense of the fans.
Stuff gets to
Especially if
them.
you're in the arena and Georgie gets booed, talk about just shoot. I don't know why I keep having to talk about
you killed the game before the game even began.
Yeah, I cannot think of anything more stupid than booing your own goalie no matter what he's doing, because then unless you're like one of those psychos that operates completely off of having a chip on your shoulder, it's not smart. Like I really hope we don't see people boo him if we have one bad game or one bad start. It's just, it's so counterproductive and could potentially just
yep. And what I think is sad too is look at all the wins Georgiev produced, and nobody said a thing. Nobody complimented him. Nobody said anything, but they recognized the bad.
For a reason to hate him. It's such
everyone's looking for a reason to hate him.
Easy. Like it's way too easy.
And you're not doing your own team any favors by taking away your support and asking for somebody else to come in.
Right? Yeah, I mean, if McKinnon, Makar, Rantanen, if they had absolutely no faith in him, I guarantee you we would have pushed Prosvetov a lot harder a lot harder into the starting position. I really do think that they would have had a lot of say in that, and that they would have gone a lot harder in ridding themselves of Georgiev or reassessing their deadline acquisitions and trades. But clearly there's people a lot smarter than us that have faith in him.
Exactly. Right. And that's kind of all you need to realize. And that's what we as the fans kind of need to come to this consensus is it's the positive reinforcement that we can do from on home ice to get the whole team effectively, not just Georgiev, but the whole team effectively out of this funk. And if you're able to do that, then great.
His play always directly correlates to the ebb and flow of the team. Last year, he carried the team for almost a whole year to the playoffs. He pretty much piggybacked them in there. And then this year, because it's not going the same, I mean, you blame the year on him. So it's just, I don't know. It always really, really correlates with how our defense starts out. So you got to think beyond what's the easiest blame. So,
And that's the thing is like a lot of times when the defense is playing bad, they rely on Georgiev. And when Georgiev is playing bad, he relies on the defense, but neither happen at the same time. Right.
We have really, really bad, like, I can't even think of the word, meshing them together where like one can play good when the other is bad and vice versa. We just play bad together and play good together.
That's basically it. Nope. I think that hit the nail on the head. So that's going to be my big thing, is to see what kind of support we, the fans, are willing to give a team that has been struggling as of late, only one win in the last 5 games. And to see what kind of reaction you get. Because if you pull your support for the team you want to win the cup for, you shouldn't be there to celebrate if they go far.
We won the cup with Darcy Kemper, who just lost his starting position to Linda. I mean, they're paying one guy $5 million and the other guy like $1 million. I don't even. What is Lindell getting paid? I think he's like
no idea.
Almost league min, and he is currently the hero of.
Yep.
I think he's played 2/3 of the games this season, and it not entirely due to Kemper injuries. So support your goalie enough that they can at least just mentally get through it.
Exactly. Yep. Because it goes a long way. Believe me, it goes a long way. So that's just kind of my I guess word of caution to everyone is if you're not supporting them now and they do go and win the cup somehow, you better not be there when they celebrate, because you didn't have faith.
Not the only ones. Samsonov struggling. Vasilevsky, he's rolling in with a 90% save average, barely. There is, other than conveniently the goalie that we faced first, not a single goalie has been impenetrable this year, like goalies of the past where we've seen goalies go on a run for the whole year. Hellebuyck is just about it. Even Shesterkin, we saw the cracks at the beginning of this year. So no goalies are left
unscathed.
Other than Hellebuck. So that's great.
Nope,
Time
you're
to break
exactly
it.
right. Okay, so that's what I'll say for this one last game. Again, gotta give it your all. That's not to say there's an excuse for the team on how they're playing. They have to do it.
It'll be super exciting to see. Kovalenko should be joining us.
Yeah.
Curious to see that, where they pop him. You think they'll pop him in the second line, or do you think third line?
Maybe third or fourth is my guess. But I mean, they might experiment with lines, and he could be on the first. You never know.
I hate to say it, but I would, and I don't know what it would. I don't know if he does like penalty kill or anything, but it would be really nice to see Cogs get a lot of breaks and maybe be replaced, if even only for periods of time, by Kovalenko. Cogs is just really struggling, but we have a lot of old dudes that could stand to have somebody step in for once in a while. Same with Parise. It seems like, he's already maybe a little bit of injury stuff. So that's one exciting thing to come out of tomorrow that matters.
Yeah, basically. So again, it'll be your last stand on home ice for the regular season. So let's have them go out with a bang. A really big, maybe a 7-0 win would be nice.
And also with game one coming up, they did say Gabe is nowhere near close to coming back. So it looks like best case scenario would be like third round of the playoffs, if that's.
Yeah. And like I said, and I've stood by this the entire season, just don't play him.
That's what I agree.
Just don't play him.
Could you imagine like him coming in and immediately tearing something?
Exactly. I don't want to run that risk. I would rather buy the extra 2, 3, whatever, how many months for him to recover correctly and then be ready game one of next season than to have the potential cool reunion in the playoffs, Steven Stamkos-esque, but you're running a massive risk. I'd rather not take that risk. So
that was such a charmed year for Tampa too. Like they could have known that the best case scenario would happen. For us, it feels the opposite of charmed.
Exactly. Yep, you're exactly right. So speaking of playoffs, though, that is something that is confirmed, is we will play the Winnipeg Jets. Yeah. They will be the 2 seed. We will be the 3, so they get the home ice for the first 2 games. And considering your last performance against Winnipeg that we just discussed,
all performances really,
you really need to turn this around. You need to go back to kind of your roots of 2022 and find a way, because clearly Winnipeg is going to be ready. And they've shown
coming in feeling good. If there was ever a time to catch them maybe off guard or feeling cocky, it's probably it.
It would be. I mean, this first game
is going to leave an impression. Ideally, we're not relying on our power play to score, and our penalty kill is not doing great. So hopefully, they put the whistles away fast so that we can stop losing from both ends as far as penalty kill and power play. So,
yep. In this particular instance, I really want to try to channel our inner Tampa Bay. I can't believe I'm saying this, but they have that type of thing where all they need is to just get into the playoffs, and then they flip a switch, right? Even to this day, right?
It's kind of just a mentality that you enter when it's like the regular season is kind of boring. Like it's like, it probably doesn't interest them a whole lot anymore, because so much of it is irrelevant, especially when you consider the lack of disparity between the Western, like at least in the East, the Rangers are playing the freaking Capitals. Like, with like negative 38?
Something like that.
The West is like the East was before.
Where the East was just a bloodbath.
Destroy each other to get out. Yeah. So the faster you can make these playoff series in the beginning, the better. But they're all going to be hard. No,
and especially this West, where every single team is really good.
Crazy.
Right?
Crazy. Could you imagine the first place seed and having to play Vegas first? Absolutely.
I know, right?
The next best option is like maybe Edmonton, LA. Because don't sleep on LA, man.
No,
I don't know.
Don't sleep on any of them.
Yeah, at Preds, I don't want them either. Yeah, it's the Cup worries me that if the Avs don't make it through, it's probably got to go to the East, because I just don't know that any of these teams have the depth to get through to make it to the East to win. When there's some the beginning playoffs just aren't that hard in the East. It's just really not that hard. There's half of them don't deserve to be there. They should just start with 1 through 4. Just go 1, 4, 2, 3. Because
no, seriously,
awful.
Yeah, I mean, you're totally right. So this, again, it's a different mentality, different ball game. None
It
of the
is.
regular season matters, right? So you're completely fresh, completely new, right? So this is that time to march into Winnipeg with their little whiteout that they do. It's cool. I like it, right? But their little
I love
whiteout that they
how
do.
everybody's talking about them like they've got this wicked fan base, and it's like at the beginning of this year they weren't able to fill in the
Yeah,
NHL.
and they got and there
Literally
were
hoping
rumors
that
even
people
swirling
make
for them about relocation. Yep. Yep.
again.
Again.
So yeah, I think I don't really buy it that much. I think people are just trying to. I don't know. I don't really buy it that much.
So my key to the series, before I then ask you, Britt, what you think the outcome will be in the series, my key to the series is going to be every player needs to know their role and play it with 100% energy. That is how we won games in the past. It's how we've always been winning games. That's how we won the cup.
Yeah.
Right? And everyone knew what they had to do and did it without question, without asking for any kind of like change in
A lot of
scenery
stuff.
or
I love this offensive Manson, but we need you to be a defensive defense right now.
yep.
It's little stuff like that that as much as I've loved seeing him get shots, he's cost us goals. So following your particularly role, like to a T, is going to be crucial. I completely agree with you.
Yep. And that's going to be it, right? The rest will fall on its own. We score goals. The Avalanche score goals. That's not going to be a concern, right?
No.
It's being able to hold the other team from scoring goals. Now, right? Like that's a given, right? But in this case, that's the problem with the Avalanches. They will let up the first and then the next two, and then they have to play this game of comeback, right? If
Like
they
the
just
first
play
minute of the game and the last 12 are pretty much
exactly.
killers.
Yep. And that's where you need to really bite down on is,
That's what I think my key, honestly, to the entire playoffs is going to be starting in the first minute, which I think is a switch that will undoubtedly be
because that is effectively, and especially in the playoffs, that means it's kind of who controls the series or in that game of the series.
Huge believer in momentum. Jeff Merrick says it's not true, but it's momentum.
You're exactly right. You're exactly right. I think again, Hellebuck, we've sung his praises, but he's not a perfect man, right?
Yeah, we need to break him early.
It's breaking him. It's making sure that their goal scorers, which they have plenty of, right? Mm-hmm. It's making sure that they are hindered and not able to do what they've been proficient in, and that was creating space, getting those rebounds, being in the right positions. It's sticking with your man and making sure he has no ability to make a play.
Yeah, right? It's going to be a very strong defensive game that we're going to have to play because they're very stingy.
Exactly. They are a well put together team, right? And there's a reason they finished ahead of us. So it's going to be time to show what this season truly means and how every player can play their position at the best of their capacity.
And people need to remember that this team has every possible reason to believe that they can do that. I would not be the least bit surprised if you told me that we swept them. It's just it's a whole different game season mentality. People need to stop giving up on the Avs already, especially Avalanche fans. Gross.
Especially their own fans. Yep, you're exactly right. Okay, so speaking of, what do you see this Winnipeg series? We're going to do predictions for the series. What do you see it going to? Or how it results, I guess.
I think so. If we win, do they get the first 3 in Winnipeg?
It'll go 2 in Winnipeg, 2 in Colorado. No, 2 in Winnipeg, 2 in Colorado, and then Winnipeg, Colorado, Winnipeg.
I think we'll win it in 6. I think we trade the first 3 out quickly.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty accurate statement. I will say just cautiously, right? Because I'm still looking to see what'll happen in this Edmonton game, which for you guys at the time of watching this is going to be here in a few minutes. I'm going to say Avalanche in 7 because it's not going to be an easy game. I think either team is going to steal one in the first 4 games in the respective home arena. So I think the Avs probably steal game. I'm going to say 2.
Yeah. Well, and
the Jets still game.
Has never seen a playoff game. We've got dudes who got to learn how to. It's different. It sounds so dumb, but it is different. So it might take us a minute to find our footing.
Exactly. Yep. So I think Avs in 7, it's going to be a very tough series. Even if it does mean we sweep them, they sweep us. I don't think any of it'll come easy, right?
No.
But I'm going to say Avalanche in 7. And then, like I said, depending on how we do in the Edmonton game, maybe the first 2 games in the series, maybe I'll kind of adjust, right? But for right now, that's kind of where I'm sitting. They can get it done, right? It's probably going to be your toughest competition in the first round that we faced in a long time.
The first week of playoff hockey is the most fun. It really
is. You're exactly right.
First round of playoffs. My dog needs to go to the bathroom, so it's just going to show you guys all our butt.
We haven't faced a first round this difficult for a good long while, right?
No.
Seattle had our number last year. Good for them. And Nashville was nothing to us the year we won the cup, right? So this is going to be really difficult for round 1. So I'm excited to see it, right? Obviously, playoff hockey, it's a different feel. It's super fun, super energetic.
Just don't mind her, just moaning.
She doesn't care. Camera, no camera.
She's so dumb.
But ultimately, though, it's getting out of that first round with as little damage as possible.
Yeah, I mean, that's
going to kind of be it.
What do you like? Heads up hockey, boys.
No, seriously, because
and that's going to be the name of the game this playoffs, because you've got so many superstars. When you think about like Tampa, Toronto, most of the bigwigs, a lot of them are riding dudes who have had major injuries and are almost limping into these playoffs again. So we've been relatively unscathed this year. Going in with a nice, healthy McKinnon is certainly a plus, but staying healthy seems to be one of the keys for every team, like a top 3.
Yep, because playoffs are more intense. They're harder hitting, a lot more kind of scrumming, getting in the head, pushing around.
And that depth runs out fast.
Health is going to be a premium, especially the further in you get. So, okay, well, I think that'll do it for today's episode. Britt, I don't know if you had anything else you wanted to bring up.
Tilly just would like you to know she needs to go potty, ma'am.
There you go. Right. So we'll go ahead and we'll do everything we can to get her out. So thank you, everyone, once again for following this episode of the Clusterfuck Podcast. If you like what you saw, again, don't forget to like, subscribe, follow the MHRT Network so you can get notified when shows like the Clusterfuck Podcast go live. You can follow us specifically at Clusterfuck Avs on Twitter, Instagram, and Threads, and the Clusterfuck Podcast on Facebook. With that being said, let's close out the regular season on a high note, a big win.
Just remember, it's exciting times. We're good. We're happy.
Yep, we're right.
We're the third. It's just we're having fun. People are forgetting.
We're in the playoffs. It's time to show what Avalanche Nation is all
also,
about.
Saving Sackett came out today. I'm getting ready to watch it right now. If you haven't watched it on ESPN,
we'll talk about it because I saw it.
Oh, did you? Yes.
It's good. It's good. So, okay. With that being said, have a great week, everyone. Let's see how the Avs do in the playoffs. As always, go Avs, go.
Fast lane when I pass in the street, bag of money in the passenger seat. Simcoe's been asking for me on the road from the west to the east. Way up, I might never come down, cause the coast's racking up the flame out. So high, I might never come down, so what this